So, hi everyone. Welcome to this new episode of our Student Spotlight series, where we're able to showcase some of our new talent that are just joining the program and kind of continuing their research with our professors. We're able to showcase some of the work that our past students have been doing in these podcast episodes. I'm Daphne, one of the podcast hosts at CCIR, and it's our pleasure today to have with us Suhani. So why don't you tell us a bit about yourself, like how old you are, how long you've been with CCIR, what grade you're in, etc.
So hi, my name is Suhani and I'm from India. I'm 16 years old currently and in 11th grade. I've been in CCIR for the past 2.5 months, I think, and it's been a really, really great journey learning about research and how to conduct it and finishing my paper eventually, and it's been a great experience.
Amazing. So yeah, why don't you tell us a bit about your experience with the program and how you found doing maybe a bit more challenging things that you would have been otherwise doing at school, and how that's been for you, kind of tackling that.
So initially, most of the assignments that I got, it was like quite a steep learning curve for me because it was really different from what I was doing at school, and most of it was extremely new. I was a little lost, but then eventually I took help from the TA and Professor Ryan, and I think they both were really great in guiding me and helping me wherever I needed help. I even got in touch with a few of my peers who were willing to help, and we actually helped each other with whatever she was struggling with and I was struggling with. So that's how I got through with my assignments. And apart from that, I think I really learned a lot about the research, and Professor Ryan was really, really helpful with most of his inputs and his feedback, which was really prompt. And my paper got done just in time. I think it's just the first draft right now, but I mean, it was a good experience because I really learned a lot that I wouldn't have in school, and also about how to research and how to actually write a paper rather than just learning new concepts, which is what we usually do at school. So I think overall it was a great experience and I really enjoyed it.
Amazing. Yeah. And how would you say the kind of research structure that you're used to in school, how has that differed from because you just mentioned about the kind of act of writing a paper, not necessarily the research itself, but the kind of putting it all together and the structure itself. How does that differ from what you're kind of used to?
I mean, I don't think I've ever written a proper research paper in school as well, because till now, I mean, I'm in the IB currently, and I haven't even done my extended essay yet, which was the first actual research paper that you usually exposed to. So this was actually my first time in actually doing anything like it. And I mean, I've done research before for some small project or something, but I've never actually put it together as a paper. So I think it was like a completely new experience for me.
That's amazing. Wow, congratulations. Okay, so why don't you tell us a bit about your project, your paper, and maybe about, if you have done anything similar to it before, how long your interest in this kind of idea has been, and how much you enjoyed it, really. Um,
So my paper, I basically did it on behavioral economics and understanding the consumer side of whether people are actually interested in sustainability in the luxury market in India for diamonds. So my question was that, do consumers prefer sustainable diamonds over non-sustainable diamonds, and are they willing to pay more for it? And I think this behavioral economics subject, so I've done economics in 9th and 10th and even in 11th and 12th currently, but I've never actually done psychology, but I've really been interested in it for I think 2 years now, and I was really excited to actually delve deeper into this topic through this research paper, which was an opportunity that I got. And I think I chose in the Indian market because firstly it was easier for me to do since I live here, and also because I thought it was really unique from the different markets in the world like USA or UK, because the consumption of diamonds is a little different. So for my paper, I understood the consumer side of the market, of whether the consumers prefer sustainable diamonds or not, but also the retailer side, which I made 2 surveys for. So one for the consumers and one for the retailers, which gave me an idea of both sides of the market. which when I researched in other papers, none of them had done that before, which looking at both sides of the market. So I think in that way, my paper was a little unique. But apart from that, I think came to the conclusion that in India, the trend of sustainability is still latent, but the research suggests that there is chance that it's significantly going to go higher. And also that many people are, like usually the younger generation is inclined to it, but they're not really willing to pay a very high price for it. So the extent to which they're committed to sustainability is a little low. And I also highlighted some asymmetric information between the consumers and the producers because I looked at both sides of the market. So I was able to identify a little gap as well, which is something new that my paper added to the existing literature.
That's really, really interesting. Wow. And had you done anything similar to it before, or is this your first time kind of delving into this part of behavioral economics?
It was my first time because I haven't done psychology either, and my economics was really just limited to my school syllabus. And also researching and like delving deeper and actually physically like doing a survey and like getting some hands-on experience was also my first time.
Wow, that's amazing. And what was that process like? So like how was the real world research kind of structured or formulated? And how did you come up with it?
I think since it was behavioral economics, I thought it would make sense to actually get an idea of what people actually think. And I think that the survey was the easiest and quickest way and the most efficient way to do that, actually. And so, I mean, it was just easy. I formulated both the surveys and I sent it out digitally. I didn't actually physically go. But with that, I just got a little sense of what it actually happened in the real world and a little application of the all the theory that we had been studying. So I think that was a little cool, which was different from what I usually do in school, which is just like learning the book or just reading the book and just giving an exam. But this was more practical and it was hands-on, and I actually saw the application of whatever we do.
Interesting. So would you say that this has almost put what you learn in school or, gone farther from what you learn in school and almost put
Yeah.
it to the test, like in the real world almost?
Yeah, I mean, I think that was what the part that I enjoyed the most, which was actually like getting an actual experience of what I've learned rather than it just being all theoretical.
Yeah, because you can kind of see like your skills being put to use almost like in the real, like what it would be like if you actually worked in this field or conducted experiments in this field. That's really cool. And what kind of motivated you to choose this as your topic? What first piqued your interest? How did you become interested, and why this topic?
So I think I chose sustainability because it's like one of the current issues in the world right now, and global warming and eco-friendliness. It's something that everybody talks about.
Hmm.
And I wanted to explore more on whether people actually are like interested in it, or is it just all talk and people just say that they're committed to the environment but are not actually doing anything about it.
Hmm.
And I wanted to look at that. So simple daily lives, like switching from a plastic bag to a paper bag, is simple, which you can do. But actually seeing whether people are committed to sustainability in like the luxury market, which is something that is an actual expensive purchase. It's not just that you just go out and decide to buy a diamond that okay, today I wake up and I feel like buying something. So it's like a thought out decision. So I wanted to see whether people actually think about sustainability and if that's even a factor that they consider when they buy something which is expensive and important to them. And I think which is how I ended up on diamonds, because that's one of the most common luxury items that almost everyone buys or interacts with at some point in their life, especially in India, because I mean, there's the culture where you gift a diamond or a jewelry piece on a wedding or a special occasion, on festivals. So, I mean, I thought that I would look at that and it would be interesting to see if people are committed to the environment or not in that field.
And were they? Like, what were your conclusions?
I mean, to some extent they were, but my survey mainly had people which were ranging from the age of 40 to 50. So it wasn't really that representative of the entire population sample. So, but from at least that sample size, people were committed to it to some extent, but I think not a lot, because I thought the awareness was a little low. And also for consumers, they weren't that inclined towards considering sustainability as their main factor for buying a diamond. They usually considered something as price or the quality, size, the design or something, which was more important to them than sustainability. But I think the few responses that I got from the younger generation, they seem to be pretty inclined towards it. So, which is why I said that I think it's a latent trend in India, but it would improve and become important in the future.
Yeah, I guess depending on the age, the kind of response to climate change and the kind of green plan would change a lot. Very interesting, very cool. And do you have any tips for others who, might be starting the program soon or, embarking on their own research projects? Do you have any tips and tricks for new students?
I think if someone's applying to CCIR and starting out, I would say that just don't give up with the initial phase, because I think that's, at least for me, it was a really steep learning curve. And I wasn't sure where I would end up, whether I would get an actual research paper or not by the end of it, because I was pretty lost in the beginning. So I would say just don't give up. And when you're doing research, I think just like give your all to it, because it's not, I mean, for some it might be new, for some it might be something that they're already used to doing, but either way it's going to be a new experience that's really going to help you. So I think just don't give up and be consistent at it, because otherwise the work might just pile on. And also people usually at this stage have a lot of other commitments like school or extracurriculars, so then just might just pile on and you won't be able to produce one paper which is actually good, which you can use somewhere else. So, I mean, just being thorough and regular with at least your research work, and managing everything else on the side could be important.
Definitely. And speaking of that kind of balance between school and the program, how was your experience working with like a real professor rather than your teachers who you've grown up with and who you're used to? How was your experience having a very different kind of learning environment, a learning structure where you're actually being paired with someone working in a university? How was that for you?
I mean, I think I really enjoyed it because everyone was really warm and welcoming, and I didn't feel like I was out of place or it was really new or scary. I mean, at the beginning, it just intimidated me that it was like a really formal and prestigious course. But otherwise, I think everyone was really warm, and I think I felt really nice working with everyone. And they didn't make me feel like, I mean, if I struggled with something, they were the first ones to help. Even the TA and Dr. Ryan, they just wanted to emails really quickly, and I think it was a great experience. Even like my other peers, they were really nice and welcoming. So I think overall it was pretty great. It was a bit different from school, because obviously I'm not used to of actually working with like a university professor, but I think it was a really great experience.
That's amazing. And not to spoil your research project too much, but something that you said piqued my interest a bit because I am American. So I was wondering, you mentioned that the American market is very different from the Indian market. And I was wondering like how so? Like because I know nothing about economics. So I was wondering what you meant by that. How are they different? And how has that informed your like how did you have to take that into account in your project?
So, I mean, in India, when people buy diamonds, they don't see from what I researched in America, the things that people considered while buying diamonds were very different than what people actually consider in India. And for India, I didn't really have to research much since I live here, and I've had like a first-hand experience seeing people do that. Because people usually, when they go to a store, they would probably go to like a family jeweler who I mean, if my father goes to some person and his father went to that same person, so the whole family just keeps going to the same jeweler because of that trust factor, which
Right.
was different from my research, which was not the same case for not just US, but even for UK and any other country. And also in India, people think that when you have a diamond, it's like a symbol of opulence and power and respect. And the bigger the diamond is, the more shiny it is, and the more expensive it is. People think of it as a status symbol, which was again not the case in other countries. So basically, the intention for buying a diamond and the type of diamond that they buy is different in India than what it is in any other country. And I mean, I've witnessed that firsthand, seeing people buy it on the basis of its price or its size, which was different, which is what I meant by that.
That's really interesting how kind of the structure of thought behind the object is almost more important than the object itself. So even if you have a more beautiful looking diamond, if it's cheaper, it almost tarnishes that beauty, which I think is quite interesting. It's almost like ideology is more, it informs the buying process more than the physical attributes of a precious jewel, which I think is quite almost counterintuitive. Very interesting. Wow. Okay. And yeah, I was wondering also what kind of research projects maybe you hope to undertake in the future, if you want to continue along this route or spread your interest to something new and go in a new direction. I don't know.
Um, I mean, maybe I would want to like delve deeper into behavioral economics, but I think because it's something that I want to pursue in the future as well. But I mean, from the sessions that we had in the beginning of macroeconomics, I think that really interested in me as well. So if I ever do a project in the future, I may consider doing that as well rather than behavioral economics. And yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Okay. Yeah, and would you feel more comfortable going back to a uni environment after having done this program? Do you feel kind of more equipped and more prepared because you've already spent time with a professor in a non-high school learning structure? Has that kind of, strengthened your confidence at all?
Yeah, it has. Because I mean, I got a little experience, a little glimpse of what it actually would be, which just, I mean, makes the uni environment seem a little less foreign. So I think that does help.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, well, thank you so much. It was very nice to talk to you today. And yeah, you're going to be our next Student Spotlight podcast. So that's really, really exciting. And congratulations on your amazing project. It sounds fascinating. And yeah, so thank you so much. Round of applause. Yeah, so have a great afternoon.
You do. Thank you.